Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into, well, one of the biggest questions there is. What's the meaning of life?
And this explainer is all about a really powerful shift in thinking, inspired by the book, The Craft of Making Meaning. It kind of flips the whole script on that question. So what if purpose isn't some treasure you find, but something you actually build?
All right, so first up, let's talk about this trap that so many of us fall into. You know the one, this idea that meaning is some kind of external thing, just waiting out there for us to stumble upon it.
I mean, it sounds familiar, doesn't it? We're almost taught to think of life as this grand treasure hunt. Like, there's a secret map, and if we just follow it correctly, we'll find the X that marks the spot, and boom, everything will just click. But this way of thinking, it leads to what the book calls the finder's trap. It basically turns us into passive observers in our own lives. We end up just waiting for that perfect job, or the perfect partner, or some lightning bolt of an idea to strike us and finally give us our purpose.
And here's the crazy part, the real paradox of it all. The search itself becomes the problem. It becomes the source of constant restlessness. Because when you're always looking ahead for the next thing, you're never actually here, in the now. You're always seeking, but you're never really truly living.
Okay, so if endlessly searching isn't the answer, then what is? Well, this is where we get to a really fundamental shift in how we see things. We're moving from finding meaning to making it. And this, right here, this is the core idea that changes the whole game. Meaning isn't some destination you arrive at. It's not a finish line. It's something you actively build, piece by piece, day in and day out. Suddenly, the power isn't out there anymore. It's right back here, with you. Yeah, this chart just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? The finder's passive, always waiting, always feeling kind of restless. But the maker, wow, they're active. They trade that endless search for creation. They stop looking out there for answers and start shaping them in here with their own choices. And the result? You feel grounded. You feel like you're actually in the driver's seat. So what does this actually look like day to day? Let's break down this maker's mindset and talk about how you can step into your own power, your own agency. Okay, so the maker's mindset. It's not about some huge, dramatic, once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Not at all. It's a daily practice. It's about recognizing that every single small choice you make, every little commitment, every habit, it's like a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Meaning gets built in the small, everyday stuff. This is where it all happens. Right here, right now. Meaning is forged in how you show up. It's built from the habits of love you cultivate, the little acts of service you decide to do, and that quiet courage you muster when things get tough. Really, it all comes down to where you point your attention, because that's your most precious resource. Now, to make this whole idea feel a bit more real, the book uses this amazing metaphor. Think of your life as a giant tapestry. You don't just find a finished tapestry, right? No. You are the weaver. Life gives you all the raw material, these colorful, sometimes messy, tangled threads of experience, but you're the one sitting at the loom, deciding which threads to use, how to bind them together, creating a pattern that is completely and uniquely yours. So, what are these threads we're talking about? Well, they're the big, fundamental parts of being human. Things like our own mortality, that's a thread. So is curiosity. And love, perspective, identity, belief, responsibility. These are the materials we all get, and it's our job to weave them into our own personal story. Okay, now if the whole tapestry thing isn't quite clicking for you, here's another great way to think about it. Imagine your life as a sculpture. Right, because an artist, they don't find a finished sculpture hiding inside a block of marble. What they do is see the potential in that raw stone. And then, with focus and intention, they start chipping away everything that isn't the final piece. Well, your life, that's the marble. And you're holding the chisel. And this process, it shows that meaning isn't some sudden flash of inspiration. It's a slow, deliberate craft. You start with the raw materials you're given. Life's circumstances, the good and the bad. And every little decision you make, that's a tap of the chisel. It's through that slow, steady, and sometimes really hard work that a coherent shape starts to emerge. And this quote just nails it. The search for meaning ends, not when we discover a hidden answer, but when we realize we are the ones who must create the answer. I mean, that's it, right? That's the liberating moment. When you realize the power was never out there somewhere. You're not just a character in your life story.
You're the one writing it.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's pretty simple, really. Stop searching. Start making. You already have all the tools you need. The power isn't about finding some secret key that someone else hid. It's about picking up your tools, your chisel, your weaving threads, whatever, and just starting the work. Today.
And so, we'll leave you with a question. It's a small question, but it's a powerful one. What will you make today? That's our explainer. Thanks for watching.